we are in a conversation. That's
Yes.
right. That's right. Okay. All right. So the first couple of minutes, it'll be me and you just kind of going back and forth, Dr. Judy, and maybe we can kind of throw in how this conversation actually had you throw me on a committee with the Commission on the Status of Women and Girls, and just talk about, we'll go back and forth about it, and then once we bring them on the show, after the 3-minute break, then we can just introduce them, and I'm just going to do a rough summary, not even like a formal, just. Yeah, and then, here you come.
Should we have these headphones on?
It would be helpful because then you'll know when the segments are coming and when they're not.
So leave them
But
on
you don't
every
have
time.
to. You can. Or not.
Do you have one?
Hey, y'all. We are here getting ready to stream. Go ahead and post and share. All right. We're getting ready to get on, and we look forward to having this great conversation with you all. I know we look kind of far away. Y'all feel far away today? Y'all feel far away. But listen, if y'all have any input, any questions, please post them in the chat. We'll take some time during our show segments to look at the questions and try to answer them either during the break or during the show. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Hey, y'all coming on in. Hey, all right, good afternoon. Okay. Hello, Tallahassee. If you're listening to the sound of my voice on this Wednesday afternoon, you will know that I am not Pastor Greg James. I don't even play him on TV, but he is in the building. He is in support, and what a wonderful show to be in the building for today. We have a dynamic conversation. We have excellent panel. You do not want to miss the next hour of this conversation. And joining me, because I had to have somebody that knows a little bit of stuff about conversation to join me for this show, if not just to kick me and say, girl, stop. I have with me as our co-host today, none other than the Reverend Dr. Judy Mandrell on the ones and twos. Hello, Reverend Dr. Judy.
Well, what you say, Madam
Pastor
President?
Reverend Dr. Judy.
What you say, Madam President? Hey, it's a good thing to be here. I am so honored to be on the Greg James show because Greg James is one of my mentors. Yeah, he got me started with this radio and just a whole lot of things. And Christy, you got to be the Madam President of Tallahassee for real. Absolutely love working with you. Awesome woman. And so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, listen, nobody else could have this conversation with me because, we're talking about this on the radio, and me too, right? I'm not going to take myself out of this. I'm good at calling you and saying, look, you need to do this, right?
Right.
So Pastor Reverend Dr. Judy called me and she said, Christine, we were talking about economic development in the Commission on the Status of Women and Girls. And I just told them I'm gonna call you and get you on a committee. I was like, do I need to be on another committee?
Yes, and that's what she said. And I said, you have time to do this because they were talking about economic security in regards to women.
Yes.
And one person that I know who is passionate about the economic status of women and girls in our city is Madam President Christy Henry. And I wanted someone who was knowledgeable and someone who wouldn't be afraid to speak. So we can, the good and the bad. So we could make some real suggestion and make some real impact upon the lives of the women in Tallahassee.
Yes,
I think we owe it to them. I think we owe it to the women in Tallahassee to get what we have. So we need experts.
Yes, we do.
And I said one of the things I was concerned about, we have women who don't know how to do bank accounts, who never thought about a budget, or who never thought about the place they're in being a place of disparity or anything. So I asked Christy to come join the committee on the Commission of Status of Women and Girls in the Committee of Economic Security, because I wanted to know myself. There's a lot of things I wanted to know. And to be here today, I think is an honor from God.
You're so crazy.
For me to be here with such mighty women. I am so happy.
Some might up in this studio today.
Man, it's
Listen here. Is it some?
Oh, Chrissy, this is to be with all y'all. Oh man, I'm about to. I got a pen and paper.
Ready to put it down.
Yeah.
Well, listen, the blessing of being here on the Greg James Community Show platform is the ability to craft content that meets the needs of listeners.
Yes.
Not necessarily having people listen to stuff that doesn't impact their lives or doesn't provoke thought, but we want to have information that provokes opportunity. And so the scripture that guides us on this show is Proverbs 18:5, which is the heart of the discerning acquires knowledge, for the ears of the wise seek it out. And so our job here is to curate knowledge and to be able to give it out in a way that translates so that people can reach up, grab it, and then they can activate it in their lives. And you know something about reaching out and activating and navigating folk in their lives, don't you?
I do, because that's one of the things that I think I'm thankful of. That God has gifted me where I can gather people together, bring them in the room to get knowledge and understanding from all walks of life. And so everybody get to put into it so we can get back.
Right.
You know, so and everybody can be better for it. There's no competition, there's no everybody want to see everybody win. So we get the knowledge, then we train people how to use the knowledge, then they too, maybe next time, Christy, some of those who have gained the knowledge, put it into place. Maybe they will be sitting here at the Greg James Show, sharing the knowledge that has helped them to impact others.
Man, that's the goal, right?
Yeah.
That is the absolute goal. And it was interesting how last month we had a really great conversation on women in business, women in trouble. And we talked about how emotional business is for women. We don't usually go and say, oh, let's buy a franchise and do this. We usually are activated in enterprise due to what? Necessity. And so when it comes to a conversation on economic security, lots of women who find themselves in a situation of crisis, they're acting in their scarcity. So they don't have time to worry about whether it's done right, whether A, B, and C is in place, whether they know this, whether the legal is in place, whether the finance is in place. In fact, we learned a couple of weeks ago that 61% of Black women in business self-fund. They self-fund their enterprises. And so, you know, when you're talking about women and economic security, and definitely women here, I know our show guests today are going to bring it home.
Oh, yes,
and when we finish, right? When we finish, because they're not just women that talking about it. They're women that are responsible for facilitating outcomes.
Exactly.
And so we want to make sure that we get those outcomes out. We want to curate all that stuff of these dynamics. They're going to hear about them in a minute. We're going to talk about it. All right. So listen, we're going to go on a real super brief break. Like, you know, whoever's going to sing ain't going to get about 10 bars out. All right. And then we'll be back with our show guests and announcing y'all who are here. And if you're listening, go ahead and call a friend. Tell them y'all need to tune in not right now, right now. All right this moment.
And I just want to say this is very important. So all the women that you know, get them on here.
Yes.
In this room is power pack knowledge, and you want it. So we have so many women who get stuck. And I just was given something that said it stinks to be stuck.
Yeah.
And so but get the women on here. Get them on here. Share it. And those of you who are on here, go ahead and share. Today's show is going to help get somebody free.
That's right. Well, we look forward to y'all returning with us. And you are tuned in to the Greg James Community Show, Conscious Check. You're on the check. We look forward to joining you in a few minutes after the break. Hey, I see y'all are here. Let me see what y'all writing. Hold on. Let's see what y'all writing on here. So look, it's far away and I'm nearsighted. So I gotta get up and look. Hey y'all, how you doing? Hey Miss LaCampia, good afternoon. Hey Miss Doris. She said yes, Auntie. She might be talking to Miss Judy. All right, hey Keosha, good to see you. Oh, she said she just saw you at Women Wednesday. You did an excellent job.
I'll tell her thank you so very much.
Hey, Miss Simmons, good afternoon. All right, y'all make sure y'all, I ain't mean to hide you, baby. Let me get you back on there. Listen, y'all go ahead and post and share. It's going to be a dynamic show today. We're looking forward to curating all this greatness out of our guests today. And thank y'all for tuning in. Hey, girl, hey. All right, we look forward to curating all this greatness. If you have any questions, go ahead and post them. If they're personal, don't post them, like inbox them. All right?
Right.
Don't tell your business on here. All right. But we look forward to y'all joining us back, and we're going to head back to show here in about a minute and a half. All right? All right.
That was good.
Yes,
I'm
goodness.
Ready. I'm ready.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
It's going to be good.
So y'all y'all are coming off of coming off the Capitol. They just had Minority Business Development Week with some of the minority chambers throughout the state that just came to the Capitol. I saw you. Were you up there?
I wasn't, but I heard
Okay.
it.
Whew, there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on.
Yes, there is.
Woo,
A lot going on.
it's been too many.
Spring is busy. Spring is busy.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, so we're sharing on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram.
Oh, cool.
All right. Welcome back, y'all, to the Greg James Community Show. Conscious Check. The check is on. You're here with Christy Henry and our esteemed guest co-host, Pastor Reverend Dr. Judy Mandrell. We're so glad to have her fresh off of another presentation earlier today at Women Wednesday.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Tallahassee is a city for women. There's a lot of women here.
There's a lot of women here. And we're doing some good stuff.
But there's a lot of women here.
And there's a lot of women here.
Like, if you want a woman, you need to come to
I come
Tallahassee.
to Tallahassee.
There's
There's a lot of women here.
There's a lot of, in
And
fact,
there's a lot of women events going on.
it's a lot of women
Women
in
organizations
Mhm.
and committees and here to help women. But we can just tag into it.
Yes.
As Barbara Westcott said, we're going to be the #1 city for women, Tallahassee.
Well, I think we're getting that because it's 53%. The 53% of the people are women, right? We almost there, Dr. Judy. And so I think that's why it's we #1. Don't mind me. That's why it's important to have this conversation because obviously we have all generations of women here. We have young women, we have collegiate age women, we have baby women, we have grown women, right? We have women that are in business, we have women that are academic professionals, we have women in all different spaces. And I have heard and just read that Tallahassee is actually one of the best places in the nation for wage equity within the entire nation. I said it, the people said it. This is one of the best, which means that women here earn almost on par what men earn. I wonder why that is. So we're gonna bring some answers and questions here to get into that conversation because when we talk about the economic status of women, we really are talking about what it takes for women to be economically viable within a place. And so we have with us today some women that could probably tell you some things.
Oh, yes.
First up, the amazing Terry Ard. Terry Ard is with the Moore Agency. The Moore Agency is everywhere. All right, they everywhere. They from the state to the street, right? They are messaging everywhere, right? But more importantly, they're investing everywhere. And they have facility investment at TCC. They have facility investment all over this community. So they put their money where their mouth is. And Terry Ard, who is our awesome leader now, the chair of our Tallahassee Chamber of Commerce. We have her here to kind of shepherd us in this conversation today as we talk about women business owners. Welcome, Miss Terry Ard, to the conversation, to the check.
Thank you. I am so excited to be in this room with these powerhouse women. It is amazing.
Yes, ma'am. And it's a powerhouse room, y'all. If you're not tuned in on Facebook, you probably need to see it because it'll bless your life. All right. And the next guest we have on here, y'all know this lady. She's everywhere. She is everywhere. If you look on Southside, if you look at FAMU, she is the brooker, the baker, and the candlestick maker. All right. I'm going to take the privilege right here.
Take the privilege.
Dr. Shante Friday Stroud is the dean of the School of Business, right?
Right.
But that ain't enough. She's the vice president for University Advancement.
Yes.
And she's also the executive director of the FAMU Foundation.
Yes.
Do you run the cafeteria? Are you in charge? Or are you kind of in charge of everything, Dr. Friday Stroud?
And what happened last Friday?
And she just got a whole award named after her. But you know what? That was time to shout out to the Big Bend Minority Chamber of Commerce for recognizing this brilliance, right? Because she has been in the trenches, but has not ever made herself a presence that's indomitable.
Right.
She has always worked it powerfully in the spaces that people can see and don't see. And I am just such a fangirl. I'm sorry, I'm all over your. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so very much for having me. Again, I have to say a huge thank you to the Big Bend Minority Chamber.
Yes.
But to everybody in Tallahassee and everybody at FAMU, as I tell people, I can't do all of this by myself. It takes a team of people. and being a collaborator by nature, it is what I do. And so thankfully to have people who believe in and buy into the vision,
Yes.
and we work the plan. And we try to make friends wherever we go, such
Yes.
that, because you will sometimes be in places where you don't think that you may be, but if you always have a friend, then you're never by yourself. And
That's
so
right.
very thankful for you to invite me and to have us here for this panel to really talk about ways that women can empower themselves,
Mm.
right? And not get stuck or stay stuck, but that they can figure out how to advance them for themselves, but also for their families.
That's right. That's right. And so when we get to that blueprint, right? Because we're gonna hopefully have that conversational blueprint. That'll come out even more so. And then rounding out this heavyweight room here, of course, is Sue Dick, who is the president and CEO of the Greater Tallahassee Chamber of Commerce. Now, let me just say this. I want to make sure I put the whole gravity on it. She has been in place for over
20 years.
20 years. I didn't want to say 2 decades because that sounds like a long time. She's real young, y'all. She started when she was 12. All right. She's been in this seat and has advocated for thousands upon thousands of business. Her voice is not just recognized as a scion for businesses here in the Greater Tallahassee area, but within the state and nationally. I mean, you have a voice for business here.
Yes.
And there's a reason a woman is in a position for 20 years.
Yes.
All right. Okay, I'm gonna leave that right on alone. Leave it alone. But we welcome you here and your indomitable voice and commitment to what is relevant and what is right.
Well, thank you, and I am blessed to get to do what I get to do every day. I'm sitting here with 2 board members, my chair, Terry Yard, and my board member, Dr. Shante Friday Stroud, and community leaders, Dr. Judy and Christine. So it's an honor to be here. My voice is here to just represent what I hope you know is the support out there, not only from the Greater Tallahassee Chamber, but from the Big Bend Minority Chamber and the Capital City Chamber with Katrina Tuggerson's work there as well. So we're here to offer any assistance. I've got 2 observations. One, I think we're all passing it on to the next generation.
Yes.
I think we all are mothers to beautiful daughters and granddaughters. And then I've just got to give a shout out to Greg James for he is a man, people might not be able to see what he's doing, but he is scaling the walls and making sure that we're here and really offering a lot to this community and bringing forward this type of setting to talk about this important topic. So a shout out to Craig, who's wise enough to have women in the next room, especially powerful women, and thanks for letting me be here.
Oh man, listen. Okay, so I told y'all to tell your cousins and your aunties to go ahead and tune in. So let's dig on into some of these questions. So economic security, we know is on par with community value. When we look at overall assessment of value, we look at the capacity of our city to bond. They're looking at things such as what? Public safety. They're looking at things such as sustainability. They're looking at things such as now equity markers, right? How does this factor into a population of almost 300,000 people, of which 53% represented are women? How does this economically factor into it? And what does it look like in terms of the landscape of opportunity that we must facilitate and create so that they can in turn be able to live here sustainably and be able to pay into the local revenue base? That's a big question, right? But let's just start out hard and general, all right?
Well, I mean, I'm going to start out. I'll start out with a short answer and then let the other experts chime in. But I think it's a great question, and I think for many of us, let's not forget what the women of our community have been through and are going through.
Right.
We cannot forget what COVID did to our community, to the generations of women, females, young professionals that were trying to get in the marketplace. And you are right. We have more females in Leon County than males. And then within our MSA, which is the other point, is we hope our listeners will walk away with a little bit more nugget of information, because to be informed, you can go and do more.
Yep.
In our MSA, which that's 4 counties, Gaston, Leon, Wakulla, and Jefferson, metropolitan statistical area, there are more women in our MSA. That is something that we cannot overlook. We need to realize what that means, and we need to make sure that we're putting together programs to meet the women at whatever place they are and coming into the workplace. And I was reading this survey of over 800 women executives, and the feedback was, what are the 2 words you would say to women executives who are just coming in or trying to get promoted, and the words were value them.
Mm.
So what they bring, and know that they have 2 to 3 important elements that come to them. Just value them, and I think that's something that we should all make sure that we can repeat and share and really pay attention to.
I think we need to do a hashtag value them.
Value
That was
them.
powerful.
That was powerful.
Ooh, yes. All right.
Yes,
Come
or
on.
value her.
Value
Hashtag
her.
value her.
See, you see, now she digging into her man. You saw her digging into her element. I saw you do that, Taylor. That was good.
That was good.
That was good.
CLT
Well,
36.
and you know, Sue talked about the number of women that are here in Leon County, right? And then in the MSA. But if we look at how many of those women are actually business owners,
Mm.
right? So within the SBDC, we cover a broader area, right? So we have an 8-county region across the Big Bend, and we have over 850 women-owned businesses, right? But that's
Oh,
out
wait a
of
minute.
thousands.
What's that again?
850 women-owned businesses in the 8-county Big Bend area. But recognize that almost 593 of them are right here in Leon County,
Whoa.
okay? But let's talk about, are they on par, right? And so there's research that says on average, women only earn 82% on the dollar for a man,
Mhm.
right? Women are only 30% likely, 30% of women believe that they have enough saved for retirement,
Mhm.
right? Compared to almost 60% of men,
Mm.
right? So when you start to think about, while we are significant in number, really trying to make sure that we get our fair share of this economic pie, that's where the real work needs to be done, right? Because we are owning businesses, and thankfully we do have a lot of women who are in non-traditional fields, right? More male-dominated
Right.
fields. So we have, and we talked about Melody yesterday, right? Who is in a male-dominated manufacturing industry. But predominantly women will be found in more hair salons
Right.
or catering businesses, restaurants, those types of things, right? But really trying to make certain that we are in places where we're able to get our fair share of that economic pie. It's where the rubber meets the road. That's where we have to really make sure that we are training women, that we are teaching women, right? Not only to go out and make the money, but how do you save the money?
Right.
Because think about how many people, if they lose a spouse, right, they may have to sell a house because they don't have that replacement income.
Right.
So really doing those things from a holistic perspective that can set women up to not only be economically successful and viable today, but tomorrow, and to get them preparing for kind of generational wealth for their kids.
So
The equity gap. I love that you brought light to that statistic. And when you look nationally, to overcome that, it will take 63 years.
Okay, wait a minute, what?
63 years to narrow the gender gap in pay, and 30 years for the participation gap between females and males in the workplace. But I do believe in our community and our region that it will be significantly less years. And in part, it is because of the collaboration that we have in this community across workforce, education, business community, all working together. But think about that, 63 years nationally to overcome that pay gap between men and women. We look at the programs that we have in this community that so many women leaders are leaning in to overcome that challenge. And we'll talk a little bit about some of those programs. I know, Christy.
yes, I'm just stuck on the 63 years. You saw
Yeah.
my head, like my
Yes.
forehead hurt. That's a long time.
It's a long
And
time.
if you want to even break that down, that's basically saying women have to work 42 days more every year, right? To try to catch up, right? To put a dent, right? Because we won't catch up, but to try to put a dent in earning what a man earns. And so these are things that you really have to understand going in the door, and why it's so important for us to educate ourselves, to be armed with the knowledge, so that when you're going in to negotiate for
Right.
pay, right, you are coming to the table armed with the information such that you can try to get the best salary. Because what we also know is, if you don't get it coming in the door,
Right.
it's so much harder to get it after
Right.
you're in.
That's right.
Right.
So here's what's happening because of this equity gap. We are seeing the great breakup.
Mm.
There are more women switching jobs now than ever before. And in fact, starting their own business.
Yes.
And Shantae, 3% of men are more likely, or of women are more likely to start a business than men. That's a small statistic, but it shows we're edging out.
Mhm.
We're leaving the traditional workforce and becoming women entrepreneurs.
Exactly.
We're looking for, what is the focus on diversity and inclusion? How can we have more flexibility? How can we create a sense of belonging and opportunity in our own workplaces
Mhm.
that are led by women, and grow that, and then give it back to the next generation?
So let me throw this, and I see you. I see it's like
Okay.
it's like a basketball game, right? Listen, so I'm gonna throw this out here, and I know Sue, you're gonna catch it first. So, all right, entrepreneurship is the great equity bridge, right? But a statistic I just saw the other day says that women business owners, their profits are about 57% that of men in entrepreneur in men owned business or traditionally owned businesses, right? And for Black women, they earn, as compared to our wonderful white women counterparts, 43,000 as opposed to the 124,000 that. And so is that an economic thing, or what is that? What is that? If we're going into business and we're breaking up and we're finding value in the marketplace, are we not pricing things properly? What is happening? Are we not targeting the right market base? What's happening with that differential?
Well, I think we cannot be afraid of data and information. Don't let it scare us. Without it, we don't know what the real landscape presents. So you're right. I mean, the Office of Economic Vitality and Keith Bowers does a tremendous job there, and Daryl Jones with his Minority Women Small Business Office. But I think in 2021 they had a study that less than 40% of startups entrepreneur were women. So for whatever reason, empowering women, or the ability to feel like we can go out and start our own business, is important. And there are many resources that are out there that I know we're going to do a laundry list or post before we leave here, because that people want to know. Your listeners are like, give me solutions.
Mhm.
Right? Tell me the problem. I have problems. I can go outside and see the problems. I want solutions. But I also think it does have to do with industries. It's what types of business, understanding the demand, understanding the actual positioning for you to be successful. And then you have to be brave and bold to start a business.
Right.
And while we all are women, we all know what we carry as women. We are doing a lot in the day, and we have to give forgiveness to ourselves. But what we do very well as a community, and I do think that we can break the trends and the numbers and the statistics, is to a point Terry made, and I know that Shantae is every day. We have to work together and provide resources for each other, and we have that. And not everything might work. And we need to be okay and safe and fair to say that was not a realistic solution. Now let's go find a better solution. But Christine, I do think that not all, I've contemplated on occasion starting my own business, and I haven't done it yet because I just don't, I have a lot of smart people around me, and it's just bad ideas. And I think sometimes we just have to be very strategic and think a hobby does not make a business. If you're lucky, it does. But we have to make sure there's a demand in the market and build the resources around it with the experts that are around this table, like what the Family Small Business Development Center brings, what OEV brings, and what mentors like a Terry Ard can bring to the table.
Yeah, and I was just thinking that would be very helpful, even what's been said here, because I think a lot of people start business from a hobby without really taking into account what it costs, because it costs. And I think before we could get mentors and they say, hey, look, I want to start this business. And if they can honestly sit around the table with people who know, people who have the all of the
All of
data
that.
and everything, who have all of that, and say, David, that's a hobby.
Well,
You
and-
shouldn't,
and
and I think it would help.
And you said it right. So both of y'all hit like dead on the head. People have something that they're good at.
Mhm.
That is their hobby, but they don't know how to monetize it, and they definitely don't know how to keep the books. So here's what we have my students, right?
Mhm.
They wonder, why do they have to take all these accounting classes? Well, there's no way that you're going to be successful as a business leader or as a business owner if you don't understand the books, right? Just because you make money, that is not your profit.
That's right.
You don't get to your profit until after you have covered your expenses.
So,
So if your expenses far exceed the money that you're bringing in, you might be happy. Oh my God, I brought in $5,000. But if it cost you $6,000 to make that $5,000, you're $1,000 in the hole, right? And so people don't look at the whole picture. That's why places like the FAMU Small Business Development
Yes.
Center, located right down the street, 625 East Tennessee Street, you can go there and get free assistance
Yes.
on how to develop your business plan, how to develop your financial statements. We also talked about, Christique, in one of these conversations we were having, about most women, they are actually starting their businesses with their own money. So you're already starting out behind the eight
Yes,
ball,
sir.
right? And so you need, if you're gonna go to a bank, you have to be bankable.
Wait a
right?
minute, hold up. You got to say that again. If you're gonna,
If you're gonna go to the bank and
Mhm.
everybody says, "Oh, go get this money," and "Oh, there's free money," there's no such thing as free money.
There's no
First,
such
let's say
thing as
that.
free money.
Two, when you go to the bank, you can't go in with your stuff on a piece of paper. You gotta have financial statements. You have to have a cash flow analysis. You have to have a balance sheet. You have to be bankable, right? So it's great to be creative. It's great to have a hobby. But if you can't put dollars and cents to it, you are not going to be profitable. So when we talk about the gap between what men make in their businesses and what women make, a lot of times we undercut ourselves because we don't understand the true cost, right? We don't even value, for most of us, the true cost of our time, let alone all of the other pieces and services that go along with whatever that product or service is. So to get bankable, that's why you need to go to places like the FAMU Small Business Development Center. Now that is free. It's free because we are part of a federal grant, and there are dollars also that FAMU contributes to be able to provide that as a service to the community. So we need to make sure that our women business owners are going out here and taking advantage of these free resources.
So we just said a couple of things. Terry started off and she said there's a great breakup. Women are trying to get out the traditional marketplace to find value. They're trying to find equity. They're trying to go out there and they're becoming business owners, right? Well, they're going out there on passion and they're not taking evaluation and saying, hey, maybe I just need to be an entrepreneur, not an entrepreneur, right? Maybe I need to go and take my time, talent, and capability to another venue and earn there what I should have got over here. But they're opening businesses. So Sue says, maybe you need to keep your day job, right? Because nothing's wrong with the day job, right? Nothing's wrong with the day job, all right?
Yeah.
If you can bring value to another space. And then we came over here to Dr. Friday Stroud, and she said, well, look, if all you're trying to do is start a business, there's nothing wrong with starting a business. But a business is a business. It's not a hobby. It's not a passion project. It's business, right? And I think Dr. Judy and I, as we're thinking through this is so critical because this stuff is so emotional for us.
Yeah.
It's emotional. They don't appreciate. They don't value me. They don't value her.
Yeah.
How do we get to the next place in this one stuck point we have with this emotional approach to economic security? Because it's not sustainable.
Dollars and cents.
Dollars
Well,
and cents.
And I'm going to say something that is so simplistic. It's 2 easy sentences to remember.
Okay.
No matter if you're an entrepreneur, where you are in life, know your worth and sell your value. Know your worth. So when we look at the pay gap and we look at can we become bankable and what is it that are my talents, but I could actually commercialize those.
Yes.
Know your worth. and sell that value. And there are hundreds of women in this community that will help you do that. And incredible resources, FAMU, the Tallahassee Chamber, the two of you lovely ladies that I know you mentor thousands. Don't be afraid to ask for the help.
I would agree. Yeah, I think, a lot of this is, I think if you are currently employed, leveraging that. And I think part of what we're seeing is women are looking for better practices, not just better policies. So better practice might be allowing you more flexibility to work remote, or allowing you some time to go take care of your children and get them settled. Or like last night when I called Terry, she'd been traveling for work, and I said, can you talk? She said, I'm sitting on the sofa with Jacqueline. And I said, I'll let you go. She said, no, let's talk for a moment, but making time for your family. And the other is, increased pay. This word around pay transparency. People were talking about their pay. And if you're in a situation where you possibly cannot get that pay increase you need, and I'm very familiar with this because a lot of nonprofits are in this space, then try and find other ways to advance yourself, and maybe there are dollars for educational advancement or learning or professional development, because you're investing in you. It's another way to elevate yourself. You may not be able to get that pay increase that you really, really think and believe you deserve, but find other ways to try and advance yourself that I would guarantee your employers would likely work with you if they can, but you're investing in yourself. And so that when that next opportunity comes, whether it's an entrepreneur or you want to branch out, you're constantly working on yourself. And it doesn't always have to have a price tag, but it's a way to work on yourself.
And I think too that, we have to make sure when we talk about selling our value, we first have to demonstrate our value, right? Because so many times I hear people who say they want a certain pay because of what they see somebody else getting. But are you giving what they're giving? Are you producing what they're producing? So you really have to, I think people need to get out of the comparison game and really focus on self and make sure that you're actually demonstrating value and that you are making yourself indispensable where they can't function without you, right? Because as I tell people, if I got to do your job, what I need you for? Right? If I tell people too, I can't afford you if you can only do one job, right? Because we just don't have enough resources to go around. So you have to make sure that you are also doing your part and not just doing it exceptionally well, right? Because, sometimes I would tell the students, if this is all you can do, y'all can go get my child to do that. So tell me why I should be giving you this when I can go get my child to do it. And I ain't, So I'm just saying, I think people also need to make sure that they're doing that self-gut check on what their true value is. That is not a fictional or an imaginary thing. It is, you have to be able to demonstrate the value that you bring to the table. And honestly, if you are bringing true value, it will be recognized. You don't have to go and ask somebody or tell them or try to demand this. It will be observed and then recognized.
And I will tell you, sometimes you may not be observed by your current employer, but I will guarantee another employer will notice and it'll create an opportunity for you. So let's make sure that you just shine and shine hard, and to your point, because it does happen. And for women will look out for women.
Yes, they will.
Yes.
And men will as well. There's some tremendous male business owners and champions. Yes, we all have many of those, but at the same time, the women are looking for women that they know they can work with and believe in what they believe in.
Sue, to that point, right here in our community, for every person right now today that is looking for a job, what's a new opportunity? There are 2 job openings for them to choose from.
Is that something?
So there is a surplus of opportunities for jobs.
Yes.
And our work with the Tallahassee Chamber and closely working with FAMU and FSU and TCC and Lively Technical College, I want to give a resource to our listeners and viewers of talenthubtlh.com. This is an online resource where you can go and look at career opportunities and what training you may need and what positions are open, and you can apply for those opportunities. I love Sue's point of being a lifelong learner. The certifications are the hot topic right now in advancing yourself
Right.
and really selling your value. There's a certification for almost everything you could imagine in any job. Just Google it,
Yeah.
right? But Talent Hub, TLH.com, is a resource that the Tallahassee Chamber, working with our talent and education and workforce partners, have brought to this community to help everyone. But our women listeners that are thinking like, wow, I'm inspired. I want to think about what else could there be for me. That's a good first place to start.
Absolutely. So we're going to get back to, first of all, that's a tremendous resource. It's highly navigatable.
Yes.
It's online. And if you can't navigate it, it's somebody you can call to get them to help you navigate it. Like people want you to get on Talent Hub. They want you to look at it.
Yes.
Let's break it down. Break it down. Shout out to PBS. My daughter loves Work It Out Wombats. And the super on there says, break it down, break it down, break it down. And at the end of the day, the earned median income for our MSA that Sue talked about earlier, market statistical area, is 81.2, right? Or 82.1, but it's over $80,000 now. All right. So that means that the median income here is over $80,000. The average income for women in Tallahassee, Leon County ranges from 42 to 47,000 per capita. Average rent here is $11.97. So when we talk about economic security and we talk about 12 months of $11.97 and an average income of 43 to 47, and really that's not even accurate. If I did a median rent, it would be way more than that. If I slim it, is a science project here. How do we gauge economic security for women? What's the pathway here for getting in the door? But when you're in the door, being able to sustainably earn income, whether it be through a business revenue generating model or an entrepreneurship employment model. What are wages and intentionality in this? And how do we begin the process of breaking the numbers down to see why it is so important for us to be targeted? Because if an economic event happens here, right? We're all watching Silicon Valley Bank. We're all watching what's happening. How are we going to manage it financially here in our community with such vulnerability?
Yeah, and I think that some of it it has to start with people understanding how to manage their money, right? And understanding that you can't be like the Joneses, right? So you have to learn how to live within your means. And so being very intentional, having a plan, working your plan, you can progress, right? And so that may mean that you may have to start out in a smaller place, right? Everybody can't go live up in the penthouse, right? So you have to really think through where you can afford to live, but you also need to think about what you spend on what. Everybody can't afford Starbucks.
Right.
Everybody can't afford to eat out. So you really have to have a very detailed plan, paycheck by paycheck. And then what are you actually putting to the side, right? Are you actually taking advantage of your company's 401k or 403b, right? These are things that you have to start planning over time. I mean, if you think about the number of Black women years ago who saved and put their money under a mattress, but then they were able to make a donation of $150,000 somewhere, right? One could say, how did they do that? That was a matter of planning and sacrifice. And so that means you can't go and do what everybody else is doing. And I tell people, and some of my friends are gonna laugh because I'm gonna just say this, right? But I'm designed on a dime.
I love it.
Right? And some people will say that, you know, I act like I'm broke, but I'm really not broke. But it's because I have to save money, right, because I waited to be an old mama and now I got to prepare for college and retirement at the same time. That's nobody's fault. That's mine, right? But they're choices that I have to make, right?
Yep.
And as a result of that, I have to plan to do things. And so, but nobody talks about that,
That's right.
right? In the financial planning, and really understanding the numbers, right? How much does it cost to eat out? How much does it cost to go out, right? How many people are spending money meeting friends out? Because everything we do now is around food. But if you look at what your average food bill is, take one of those meals a week and put that in a savings account.
Mm.
You would be surprised at how much that adds up. You know, start saving $5 a week. You know, let those things add up. But most of us, we spend it before we actually get it.
Mm.
We're going to sign up for Shantae's book club on
That's what I'm
financial
saying.
literacy.
That's what we'll do.
That's what we need.
That's
A whole book club on that. But I would say, you know, to answer what's holding women back, and that financial piece is so critical. The other piece is what's called the broken rung. And that is where it is much harder for women to move from entry level to manager level.
Okay, come on now.
So for every 100 men that move to that critical next level of mid-management, only 87 women nationally. Okay, so there's a discrepancy there that I know in this community we can overcome. But that's where you start to have more of that financial freedom and independence when you hit that next level from entry to a manager. And so how can we accelerate that for our women leaders? Sell yourself.
Mm.
Sell yourself. Oftentimes women
Wow.
let the others around them sell. And we're busy running 1,000 other things, right? From 5 a.m. to 9 p.m., right? Running it all. And we love our men and we love our men leaders. But we have to be more vocal in selling ourselves and making it known that we are ready for that next level of management to get more of that financial freedom.
Now, Terry, go back to selling yourself, just in case we got some listeners who mind in the gutter. So break that down. Don't kick me, Dr. Break that down a little bit more, because I think that's a key,
Yeah.
important point. Because as women, and a lot of us, I don't have that problem. We're very
You do it
introverted.
very well,
Thank you.
Christy.
Appreciate that. I've been working real hard, but we don't do that. But what does that mean to sell yourself?
Well, we could do a whole session on that, but I would say, just in a nutshell, what is your why and what is your differentiator? So that why is what is driving you every
Yes.
morning to get up and work hard every day? What is that? Make that known with your leadership, with your peers. Make that known. I'm wanting to get to the next level. Communicate that. And then what's your differentiator? How are you different than everyone else? Right? And what solutions are you bringing? So, you know, it's an important part of, back to my simple statement of know your worth and sell your value, right? But within selling your value is being crystal clear on your why and how you're different and what you bring every day and how you show up in the workplace.
And can I add this? Because Terry said something that's really important. To be able to, your differentiator, being able to solve problems.
Yes.
Don't be the person who can always sit around and talk about a problem, but you don't come with a solution, right? Come to the table with workable solutions. Then that is the way people will see you, and you will be selling yourself in ways that you don't even know, just because people will come to depend on you for the solutions that you can bring to the table.
That is so good. When you do that, you step right over that broken rung on the ladder. You step right over it and 2 steps higher. So good.
Y'all, this is so good. I'm sitting over here like cringing in the corner, like, who next? Come on, Sue. I know you got it.
Well, and I think that, you know, I've had the opportunity to be in a lot of business establishments, small, large, massive, and I'm always in awe of what I learned. So that's the other thing, is you never stop learning. Never, ever stop learning, and observe watch around you and see, to Terry's point, and I've witnessed it firsthand at the agency and watching how everyone works there as well as many of our other businesses. When we were on campus with Dr. Friday Stroud recently, it's a culture, and don't overwhelm yourself. I think to Terry's point, selling your why and what makes you distinct and different. But for the listeners, don't feel overwhelmed. This is a step process.
Yes.
Start out with a very simple step. And if that is, I want to go find a person or two that I've always admired, I know they exist, just reach out to them. I think people would be shocked how willing people are to meet with you. And if they don't meet with you, then better you found out at that moment because they're not worth your time.
That's right.
And the majority of the individuals will meet with you, and they majority women, but again, there are men out there that are truly recognizing women,
Yes.
and without the women, they would not be successful. So don't discount talking to males if you see a leader that you would like to learn from. But find a woman this week before Friday comes.
For Friday.
Identify 1 to 2 women that you want to reach out to. They can be completely separate. They could be at your church, or they could be part of extended family or a friend's friend, and obviously in the business space, because that's what we're talking about here. And make time to go meet with them, but also go in with a bit of a game plan with a couple of questions you want to ask them. And maybe we can throw those out of sharing where you are in your journey, and being comfortable and okay and saying, I don't know the solutions. This is why I'm talking to you, but I'm on a journey here and I'm starting that process. So help me, Dr. Friday Stroud. I admire you.
Yeah.
I believe I may want to get into education or advance my degrees. What's the 1 or 2 ideas you would suggest to me? And you would rattle them off.
I surely would.
And again, anybody that signs up for your class, they better know what they're getting into.
And here's, but here's
Anyway.
what I tell people, and Sue, you hit on something when you started out. You said, don't get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Make it simple. And here's what I tell people: do simple exceptionally well.
Yes.
Oh, so good.
Yes.
Do simple exceptionally well. It does not have to be grandiose. It does not have to be
That's
complicated
right.
and so complex.
That's right.
But break it down
Mhm.
to the lowest common denominator. I mean, just think through when you were young, you were doing things, it was simple. Make it simple, do it exceptionally well, and they become your building blocks for how you move forward. And again, to Sue's point, if you talk to people, people are willing to give you assistance, right? Because as I tell them, I don't have a lot of money to give you, but I could give you my time, I can give you advice, right? And so when people come, but you have to be prepared and open to listening.
That's
Right? Because that's
Yes.
the other thing,
Yes.
is a lot of times people want it, and they want it the quick and easy way.
Yeah.
And anything, my parents always said, anything worth having is worth working.
That is
And
right.
so you got to be willing to put in the work. And I think that's the other thing, that if we take it back down to its bare essentials, it's doing the work. It is demonstrating your value. And then not only will you have to communicate and show your value, people will see your value. And sometimes they say pictures worth 1,000 words. When people actually see you in action,
Mhm.
they are not then having a question if you can do something because they've seen you do it. My sister always tells me, one of her mentors said to her, you do the job that you want to get,
Yes.
right? Not waiting for somebody to say, oh, well, I'm gonna give you this job. No, they need to see that you can do it.
So first of all, y'all, we only got an hour. I knew this was gonna happen. I think, Dr. Judy, if I'm listening well, this sounds to me like a whole forum
Listen,
on just this topic, right? Because I know we have a lot of leadership forums. We got the forum for the this and the forum. I'm talking about like a just this forum, like just talking about women, economic security, and building value. Because what I'm hearing here, and we got a lot of statistics. We could talk about the single women-led households. We could talk about the number of children. We could talk about attainment. We could talk about all this stuff. I can even go into home ownership numbers and break it down. I can bring you some data, honey. I got some numbers for you. If you want some, email me. I'll send you. All right. But I think what's important here are these very conceptual ideas, this wisdom that's literally being thrown out that can be broke down in an approach to help people understand their value, right? And sometimes understand you ain't got no value because you ain't bringing no value to. I ain't say that. But I mean, we got to have a real conversation with ourselves because,
Yeah.
we deal in reality.
And I was just thinking that when you were talking, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, we need a forum. Because now I was just thinking that we really do, because some people don't understand, but even you're not even talking way up yonder. It's just very simplistic. And I believe that women can hear this, and I believe that we're in a state right now that a lot of women want to know. They do. So, sister girls, here we come. We're going to put together a forum, and we're going somewhere, and y'all going to have, I want this.
Yes.
I mean, right here.
Yes.
I already know what I want on the panel. Because, I mean, this is so valuable. I'm sitting here like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, I called Sue. I saw Sue one time. Like, can I come talk to you? And it was like, yeah. But I always thought she was just,
way out
yeah.
there.
And we sat down and she talked. I thought it was going to be 30 minutes. She talked till I got tired. I didn't really get
She
tired.
can talk. I can get on your calendar.
But it was, and I'm sitting here listening, and so many times we miss it because we won't reach out to people who know and who can tell us. I like the straight truth. Yeah, I love it, and it can help us. And Christy, we have to today. I've done a lot of things today, and a lot of things have blessed me. But I believe that this right here is the answer to some of the things I was just asking myself in just different things. And so thank you, Reverend Greg, y'all. Thank y'all for having me here. Well, I already married these women anyway. She's 36. One of my great mentors, Dr. I'm a mentor. I love this place.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
I hope.
And it's gonna be free.
And it's gonna be free. And maybe we could talk about some data. Maybe. But I agree with you when you say data can either confuse or encourage, right?
Right.
But I do think that it's important for us to know where we at, right? We need to know where we are as a community. I probably got people right now want to inbox me and say, it's how many women here? I didn't know that Tallahassee was almost 53% women. It is. There's a lot of women here, right? That excites some folks and don't excite others, right? But I think we have an opportunity here. And Florida A&M University's amazing resources there.
Yes.
Amazing. SBDC has served, good night, probably upwards of 100,000 of businesses just in its existence. And of course, it's federally funded, but fam, you just did that. I mean, they did it as a service to the community. Obviously, the chamber is getting into some awesome spaces. They have prosperity committees. They have focuses on poverty. They have workforce development, because at the end of the day, if we don't have a population that is employable and active in space, then we don't have ability to generate back into the public infrastructure, into public revenue base, okay? So all of these things work together, but I think from y'all's input today, what we've derived is that women are reaching up, and this just happened, it's been happening all week, but women who I think got it together are reaching out, right? And I'm always reaching out because I got problems all the time. Because when you in business, you got problems all the time. I'm reaching out to people all the time.
That's right.
But I think just having this climate where you can reach out, where I can reach out to Sue and ask her, I want to do this. What do you think about it? Have you thought about having this person? And it's just like chill. It's not formal. It's not, And so I hope as we leave today, and I knew this was going to happen enough time. What would you say to women who are listening to this show? What is their next move? Listen, I know we said do something by Friday, but what's their next move? This is the next move statement.
I would say come to the free forum that our friend Dr. Judy is going to help put together. And number 2 is really start defining some of these questions we raised. And if you're sitting here saying, well, I'm not sure what my value is, Christy, to your point, you may not have a lot of value. That's okay too.
That's okay.
We'll help you explore it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to start somewhere.
And there is no place called nowhere.
That's right.
And I would say, whether you want to start a business, or whether you just want more information on how to improve yourself, you can start with the SBDC because it's free. If you think you have a business idea, or no, better yet, you got that hobby that you want to figure out, can you
Can
actually make money doing it?
Yes.
Go take it to them and talk to a consultant. If you have a business, but you're not earning the kind of money that you think you ought to earn, go talk to them because maybe they can tell you, you may need to reframe your target audience or where you're selling to, right? And Sue says you gotta always learn. So even if you don't think you want to be an entrepreneur, they have training classes where you can learn skills that you can still then take and help you on your job, right? So that's one place I could tell you can go for free
Tomorrow.
You go today.
Today.
And they don't close. They don't close to 5.
I love it. I love
Right.
it.
I know them. They
So
don't close
you
to 5.
can go, but it will help you take stock of yourself.
Right.
Because I said this the other night. Most of us can sit around and think we analyzing other people,
Right.
but we have a hard time turning that mirror on ourselves.
Wow.
So start with the self-reflection,
Yes.
honest self-reflection. Then you can figure out your game plan for where you want to go and then how to get there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I would say once you figure out that game plan and you're honest with yourself, not only reach out to SBDC, but reach out to one of the 3 chambers of commerce. What we want everyone to succeed if they have a viable business plan and or help them get to that point. And if we don't have the solution, our job is to have the connection to go help you find an answer. So reach out to me at the Greater Tallahassee Chamber of Commerce, Katrina Tuggerson at Capital City Chamber, or Antonio Jefferson at the Big Bend Minority Chamber. We are all here to assist and help people with jobs
Yes.
and finding their independence and making sure they can take care of themselves and their families.
I think we are in a period of unprecedented interconnectivity. I think that people understand the role of active and valuable workforce. They understand the necessity of viable business, and they understand the necessity of being able to quantify efforts in both of those realms. And I think that women who are listening today, Dr. Judy, should know that. They need to be encouraged to know that we live in a local economy that values them. Right? Now, they might not have much value right now yet, right, in the marketplace. Because we are talking about the marketplace. We're not talking about your couch. We're talking about the marketplace.
Marketplace.
All right? But we have a local climate that values them and their potential. And we want to connect them to venues of development of value so that they can prosper, they can be economically viable, and they can become economically secure. Would you agree with that
I
statement?
would agree with that 100%, Madam President.
So we got work to do.
Got work to do.
First of all the loves and all the blessings to all of you all who joined us today. If you tuned in today, you didn't learn something or something wasn't reaffirmed, then you might want to make sure your volume was turned up correctly.
You're correct.
It was some good stuff. I was over here taking like mental notes and trying to figure out how to jot down.
I had to take notes. I had to take notes.
I saw you taking notes, Dr. Judy. I saw you. We might have to do a live wrap up of this show on some point because this is an ongoing conversation. And next month is National Financial Literacy Month. So here we go, right? I hope that you all were blessed by the information that was shared. I want to give a shout out again to Pastor Greg James, who I am not. This is the Check, Conscious Check. This show is on the Greg James Community Platform every second Wednesday of the month at 2 p.m. They also have broadcasts every Wednesday at 2 p.m., the Greg James Community Show. We look forward to continue to breaking down economic concepts to the people level and making sure that you have a venue where you can find wisdom and you can benefit from knowledge. Thank y'all for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing y'all next time. If y'all are tuned in, I see y'all got some comments over here. Let me see what y'all saying. Hold on.
Questions.
Let me see what we got over here. Okay. Oh, is it FAMU SBDC? Yes, FAMU SBDC. Great discussion. Please have another one soon. Yes, ma'am. We will do. Oh, goodness. The forum would be one. Everybody trying to figure out this forum, honey. All right. And listen, if you want to be a part of this forum, hey, Dave is on here. Did you just talk to Dave? Okay. You just talked to Dave, did you?
last
been a
month.
Yeah.
LT 36.
I know
in the
that's
house.
listen. Hey Dave, thank you so much for tuning in, and he gave us a book.
I would say, who wrote the book?
Yeah, he done gave us a book. Hey Talithia. Hey, all right, y'all. Okay, so thank y'all so much for tuning in. I promise this is not the end of this conversation. Next month we're going to be talking financial literacy. It's going to be again another flaming show, but we are so appreciative to all of these dynamic women that are here today. We promise you this will not be the last time you see them in this forum, and thank y'all so much for tuning in. We'll see y'all next time and next month. Until then, God bless.